What if the people you love most, your mom, your brother, your best friend, were being used to destroy you? Not by choice, but by something darker working through them. It sounds unthinkable, right? But it's real. The enemy doesn't always come from outside. Sometimes it creeps in through the cracks closest to us, through trusted voices, shared memories, familiar faces. That's how demons work. They don't kick down the door. They whisper through someone you've cried with, hugged, trusted. And suddenly, your peace is gone, your confidence shattered, your spirit under attack, and you can't figure out why. In this video, I'm exposing 5 powerful, unmistakable signs that someone close to you has opened a door to demonic influence, and that influence is aimed straight at you. This isn't fear-mongering. This is spiritual warfare, and the battleground is personal. Stay with me. Every second of this video matters. If you're short on time, speed it up. Just don't skip a thing, because recognizing these signs could be the difference between reclaiming your spiritual power or staying trapped in torment. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This isn't just a video, it's your wake-up call. Let's get into it. 5 ways to recognize demons in friends and family. Sign 1. Targeting of your peace. Have you ever noticed how certain people in your life seem to show up at the exact wrong time, but in a way that almost feels intentional? Maybe it's right after you've made a big decision to take care of your mental health. You've been going to therapy. You've finally started sleeping well again. Your anxiety is leveling out. And then, suddenly, someone close to you, someone you've known forever, drops a problem in your lap, so heavy it nearly breaks you. And it's not just any problem. It's their problem, one they claim only you can solve. The timing is so precise, it doesn't feel like coincidence anymore. It feels like sabotage. But what if I told you it isn't just bad luck or emotional immaturity on their part? What if this pattern, these interruptions, these crisis moments always coinciding with your peace, is not accidental, but tactical? You see, the enemy doesn't need to come in through a window when the front door is wide open. Demons, negative spiritual forces, whatever name you give them, they're intelligent. They study you. They know your triggers, and most importantly, they know exactly who in your life has access to your unguarded moments. They're not looking to waste energy attacking you through enemies or strangers. That would be inefficient. Instead, they whisper through the mouths of people you trust. They wear the faces of family, of old friends, of people who mean well. These aren't just normal ups and downs. These are precision-timed disruptions that come right when you're leveling up spiritually, emotionally, even financially. You decide to finally set boundaries, and your oldest friend suddenly accuses you of being cold. You commit to daily prayer or meditation, and a cousin you haven't spoken to in years reappears with drama and guilt. You take steps to repair your marriage, and out of nowhere, your parent starts dredging up old wounds that had been buried for decades. The goal is always the same: to pull you out of alignment, to steal your focus, to crush your inner stillness. Here's what you need to understand. People don't have to be evil to be used by evil. That's what makes this so dangerous. The people closest to you might have no idea they're being used. They're not wearing black robes or doing rituals. They're just emotionally reactive, spiritually unaware, or too tied to their own trauma to notice the damage they cause. That's why it hurts so much, because deep down, you know they love you. But love without awareness can still destroy. And when someone keeps letting the same darkness speak through them, time after time, they're no longer just a bystander. They've become a participant. This is where Stoic philosophy offers powerful clarity. The Stoics teach us that we can't control what others do, but we can control our perception, our reaction, and our decisions. You are the gatekeeper of your peace. You can't stop people from bringing chaos, but you can stop letting them through the door. When someone you love begins to consistently disturb your sense of purpose and joy, the Stoic doesn't respond with anger. They respond with boundaries, not emotional walls, but clear limits born from wisdom, not resentment. When someone constantly shows up at the wrong time with the wrong energy, you don't need to accuse them of being possessed or malicious, but you do need to recognize that your spirit is being targeted, and the attack is coming through someone who already has your trust. And trust, once weaponized, becomes a liability. That's the hard truth many of us refuse to see. We keep giving chances because of history, because of blood, because of guilt. But spiritual maturity means knowing when to walk away, not out of hatred, but out of love for your own peace. Here's the solution. Start noticing the patterns. Emotional manipulation always follows a rhythm. Who calls when you're doing well? Who only shows up when they need something? Who always seems to need to talk right when you're finally feeling stable? Stop chalking it up to coincidence. Start accepting that these interruptions are spiritual battles in disguise. Begin responding with calm detachment. Let them speak, but don't absorb. Let them cry, but don't carry. Your job isn't to save everyone. Your job is to protect the peace you fought for. And when you start setting these boundaries, expect pushback. Expect accusations. That's the withdrawal phase, when the spiritual leech feels the detachment. Stay strong. The Stoic stands firm in what they know to be true, that inner peace is not a gift from the world, but a choice from within. You're not being cruel. You're being clear. The most dangerous battles aren't always loud. Sometimes they sound like a loved one saying, "I know you're busy, but I really need you right now." And in that moment, the true test isn't how much you care. It's how much you're willing to protect the energy that's keeping you sane. Recognize the patterns. Reclaim your peace. That's the first step in stopping demons hiding in plain sight. Sign 2. Unnatural knowledge of your weaknesses. Have you ever experienced that moment when someone said something to you, something so precise, so painfully exact that it stopped you in your tracks? A sentence so sharply aimed, it felt like they had access to your private thoughts, your inner fears, the places in you that you've worked hard to bury and protect. Not the things you've openly shared, not the common insecurities you might laugh about with friends, but the real ones, the raw ones, the ones you've never said out loud. And yet, somehow they knew. They reached in, pulled it out, and used it against you. That kind of knowledge doesn't come from good observation. It comes from somewhere else. When someone close to you seems to possess an uncanny, almost supernatural insight into your weakest spots and uses that knowledge to cause harm, you are no longer dealing with a normal human conflict. This is spiritual, and it's strategic. You might be tempted to brush it off as coincidence or chalk it up to how long they've known you, but there's a very real difference between someone understanding your habits and someone having access to what you've never shared with anyone. It's a violation on a level that goes beyond words. You feel it in your bones. You walk away shaken, not just emotionally, but spiritually. You start to ask yourself, how could they possibly know that? Take a step back and consider what this looks like in your life. Maybe it was your partner, someone you've trusted for years, who suddenly brought up something you've only ever written about in a private journal. Maybe it was a family member who made a cutting remark that touched a nerve so deep you didn't even realize it was still raw. They say it casually, or maybe during an argument, but always when you're making progress, when you're praying more, healing, letting go. The timing is never random. These attacks hit right as you're rising. That's what makes them so devastating, and that's how you know there's something more happening here. This is the second undeniable sign of demonic influence operating through those closest to you. Unnatural knowledge of your deepest vulnerabilities, knowledge they should not have used with surgical precision to tear you down. It's important to understand that demons are not chaotic forces. They are highly intelligent. They don't guess, they observe. They gather. And once they've found a willing vessel, someone emotionally open to anger, bitterness, or envy, they speak through them. They give them access to information that shouldn't be possible to know. The vessel might not even realize what's happening, but their words become weapons, their timing becomes tactical, and their presence becomes poisonous. Now, this is where Stoic philosophy becomes a powerful tool. The Stoics knew that suffering doesn't come from the things people say. It comes from our interpretation and attachment to those things. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, just because someone seems to know how to hurt you doesn't mean they have to succeed. Just because their words pierce doesn't mean they have to wound. The moment you detach from the belief that they shouldn't know this, or they shouldn't say that, and instead begin observing their behavior like a strategist, you shift the dynamic. You stop being a victim of confusion and start becoming a guardian of your peace. If someone consistently hits you with words that feel too accurate, too damaging, start paying attention to three things. First, the specific nature of what they're saying. Have you ever told them this? Second, how often these comments come at moments of growth. And third, how you feel afterward. Are you merely annoyed, or do you feel spiritually drained, as if something unseen has just ripped through your soul? That's the mark of spiritual warfare. These moments are not about coincidence. They're about disruption. They are designed to derail your progress and send you into emotional chaos. And let's be clear, this is not just about bad behavior. This is about people who have made a choice, consciously or not, to open themselves to something dark. That doesn't mean they're possessed or evil, but it does mean they've become a conduit for something that wants to harm you. They are no longer just people having a bad day. They're part of a larger plan to break your spirit. That's a hard truth, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. So, what's the solution? It starts with clarity. You must learn to separate what's yours from what's being projected onto you. Recognize the difference between legitimate concern and spiritual sabotage. When someone uses impossible insight to harm you, don't argue, don't explain, don't beg for understanding. The Stoic response is to observe, withdraw emotionally, and fortify yourself. It's not about shutting people out. It's about shutting the door to anything that threatens your peace, your mind, your spirit, your growth. They are sacred territory. Not everyone deserves access. And when someone shows you they're being used as a weapon against you, believe them. Protect yourself. Because in this battle, knowing what's real and refusing to give your power to what's not is the only way to win. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 3. They actively interfere with your spiritual growth. There's a moment in every spiritual journey where the growth gets real, not just the "I'm going to try meditating" growth, but the kind where you start changing internally, deeply, and it begins to show. Your thoughts become more disciplined, your emotions less reactive. You stop entertaining certain conversations, you set new priorities, and without saying a word, something shifts in the atmosphere. That's when it happens. People around you begin to act different, but not in support, in resistance. It starts subtly. Maybe you begin waking up early for quiet reflection or prayer, and suddenly, a close friend starts texting you late into the night, knowing it'll throw off your morning. You decline a weekend outing to attend a spiritual retreat, and your cousin makes a point to say you're drifting away or getting weird. These moments feel small, isolated, but they're not. They're coordinated. And the more you grow, the more consistent the interference becomes. This is the third undeniable sign that someone in your life has allowed demonic influences to use them. They actively, deliberately interfere with your spiritual growth, not occasionally, not out of ignorance, but with consistency and strange precision. And often, they come cloaked in concern, using soft tones and familiar words. What makes this form of spiritual sabotage so insidious is that it's usually disguised as love. You'll hear them say they miss the old you, or that you're being too intense, or that you don't need to go so deep into all this. But underneath that surface is an urge to pull you off course, because your elevation challenges their stagnation. This isn't about religious differences or casual misunderstandings. It's spiritual warfare playing out in real time through human vessels. The resistance you're experiencing is not a coincidence, it's a reaction. When your soul begins to glow brighter, anything that's been hiding in the dark gets uncomfortable. And those who have unconsciously aligned themselves with those darker forces through bitterness, pride, resentment, or spiritual laziness start becoming agents of resistance. They don't have to wear a mask or chant incantations. They just have to stay stuck in their own roundedness long enough to allow those forces to work through them. I've seen it happen again and again. Someone starts deepening their spiritual discipline, reading sacred texts daily, being more mindful, choosing forgiveness, and a close friend suddenly escalates old tensions out of nowhere. Someone begins the work of healing from trauma and aligning with a deeper purpose, and a family member reappears to reopen old wounds. The timing is too exact to dismiss. These people always seem to show up right when your spirit is getting stronger, right when you're breaking through. That's not love, that's disruption. And it's not accidental, it's tactical. Psychologically, what's happening here is a threat response. Your growth forces others to confront their lack of growth. Your clarity becomes a mirror to their confusion. And for people who aren't ready to face their own demons, the easiest option is to tear down the person who's rising you. But there's more than just human insecurity at work. There's an energy, a pattern, that transcends individual personality. That's where demonic influence enters. These people aren't just uncomfortable with your growth, they're compelled to interfere with it. And they often don't know why. All they know is that your peace bothers them, your faith agitates them, your progress disrupts the balance they've grown comfortable with. So, how do you protect yourself when the attacks come from those closest to you? This is where Stoic philosophy provides a blueprint. The Stoics teach us to separate what we can control from what we can't, and the most powerful thing you can control is access. You don't owe everyone a front row seat to your transformation. You don't have to explain your spiritual practices. You don't need validation from those who are actively trying to derail you. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Your growth is not a group project. It's personal. It's sacred. And when it starts to bear fruit, not everyone should be invited to the harvest. The solution is simple, but not easy. You must guard your practices with fierce love. Set boundaries around the time and space you need to grow. Notice the patterns of disruption and choose not to participate. You can't stop someone from calling or showing up, but you can stop picking up. You can stop explaining, and most importantly, stop doubting what you know in your gut. Your intuition is a divine alarm system. When someone consistently drains your energy, mocks your growth, or disrupts your progress, that's your signal, believe it. Spiritual growth is a threat to everything that feeds on chaos, and so the resistance you face is confirmation that you're on the right path. Don't let the disguised voices of disruption pull you off track. Stand firm, keep building. Your peace is not just yours, it's your weapon, and your discipline is your defense. Recognize the interference, reclaim your journey. No one has the right to stop what God, truth, and light have started in you. Sign 4. They drain your energy. There's a kind of exhaustion that sleep can't fix. It's not just feeling tired after a long day or needing a break after a stressful week. It's deeper. It's the kind of depletion that feels like your soul itself is being siphoned away. If you've ever walked out of a conversation with someone and felt like you just ran a marathon you never signed up for, or found yourself physically sick after spending time with certain people, you already know what I'm talking about. This isn't random. It's not just bad vibes or someone being emotionally draining. It's spiritual warfare playing out through the people closest to you. The fourth unmistakable sign that someone has opened themselves to demonic influence is that they drain your energy physically, emotionally, and spiritually, especially when you're stepping into positive change. And it's more common than most people are willing to admit. I once spoke with a man named Eric, a father of 3, who had recently turned his life around after years of addiction and destructive habits. He made a serious commitment to sobriety, health, and reconnecting with his faith. Things were finally clicking for him. But something strange started happening. Every time he spent time with his cousin Mike, someone he had been close to since childhood, he would leave feeling like he had been punched in the gut, not figuratively, literally. His chest would tighten, his head would pound, and a wave of despair would creep over him, no matter how strong he had felt that morning. It wasn't the conversations themselves. Mike never outright insulted him or criticized his journey. It was subtler, passive remarks, backhanded compliments, little seeds of doubt planted casually. More than once, Eric would come home after these interactions and fall into deep discouragement, doubting if he could stay clean, questioning if he was really changing at all. That is energy vampirism in action. Demonic forces, once they find a willing vessel, use that person not only to discourage, but to deplete, to strip you of the energy you need to fight, grow, and stay grounded. And make no mistake, this kind of attack is never random. It spikes precisely when you're gaining momentum, when your spirit is climbing. They come to pull you back down. From a psychological perspective, people like Mike often aren't fully aware of what they're doing. Some part of them is uncomfortable watching someone else succeed where they themselves are stuck. Your growth reflects their stagnation. Your progress confronts their resignation. And instead of confronting their own pain, they project it onto you. Spiritually, though, it runs even deeper. Demonic forces feed off human despair and confusion. They thrive when hope is crushed and energy is drained. And so, they sharpen the people closest to you into instruments of that purpose. Recognizing this pattern requires brutal honesty. Pay attention to the people who consistently leave you feeling worse, even if their words seem harmless. Watch for physical symptoms that arrive only when you're with certain individuals. Migraines, nausea, sudden fatigue, brain fog. Energy doesn't lie. The body feels what the mind tries to rationalize away. So, what can you do about it? Again, the wisdom of the Stoics offers a way forward. Epictetus reminds us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we are entirely responsible for what we allow into our inner world. You may not be able to cut ties immediately with everyone who drains you: family, old friends, co-workers, but you can control the boundaries you set and the energy you protect. Before you engage with people who consistently sap your strength, prepare yourself mentally and spiritually. Visualize a barrier, whatever image works for you, that keeps your spirit intact, no matter what storms rage outside of it. Keep your interactions short and purposeful. Don't get pulled into endless debates or circular conversations designed to confuse and exhaust you. And afterward, cleanse your energy. Spend time in nature, pray, sit in stillness. Remember, restoration is your responsibility. Most importantly, recognize that your life force, your peace, your energy, your joy is sacred. It's not selfish to protect it, it's wise. The people who love you, truly love you, will not require you to bankrupt yourself emotionally to maintain the relationship. They will celebrate your growth, not sabotage it. Eric eventually realized he needed to love Mike from a distance, not with bitterness, but with firm boundaries. He didn't owe anyone access to the strength he was rebuilding, and neither do you. Your energy is a gift meant for your purpose, not for those who would recklessly drain it. The truth is hard, but necessary. Some people you care about have chosen, knowingly or unknowingly, to be used by forces that hate your progress. Protecting yourself from them isn't abandoning love, it's honoring it in its purest, most powerful form. Protect your light, guard your spirit. Your future depends on it. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 5. Coordinated attacks through multiple people. Sometimes life doesn't just hit you from one side. It comes at you from every direction at once. You're handling a disagreement with your partner when, suddenly, a close friend blindsides you with accusations. Then, almost like clockwork, issues start popping up at work, with your boss questioning your commitment or co-workers whispering behind your back. None of these people have talked to each other, yet somehow, they are all pushing the same buttons, poking at the same insecurities, stirring the same doubts. It's overwhelming, almost surreal. And if you've experienced this, you're not imagining things. This is not random chaos. It's a coordinated spiritual attack. This brings us to the 5th and final sign that someone in your life has allowed demonic influences to use them. Multiple people simultaneously attacking your peace, your purpose, and your growth. When you see similar patterns emerge from different corners of your life at the same time, understand that what you're facing is a networked assault. Demonic forces don't operate alone. They are organized. And once they find open doors in your life through emotionally unstable friends, spiritually blind family members, or envious co-workers, they exploit every access point at once, weaving a net of disruption designed to entangle you. Take the case of Maria, a woman I worked with, who decided to leave a toxic corporate job to start her own holistic wellness business. She knew it was the right path, but as soon as she announced her decision, the attacks began. Her sister, who barely kept in touch before, suddenly flooded her with stories about people who had failed in business. Her old college roommate started making backhanded jokes about her hippie dream. Even her pastor raised an eyebrow, suggesting she was being reckless. None of these people knew each other, yet the core message was identical. Doubt yourself, stay small, abandon your path. It wasn't about the content of their words. It was about the coordinated effort to break her spirit at the moment she needed strength the most. The psychological mechanism here is familiar. When you move toward real change, it unsettles those who are still imprisoned by their own fear. But spiritually, there's something much darker happening. These forces communicate. They sense when a soul is about to break free, and they rally together, using anyone available to apply pressure from every possible angle. It's not personal to the vessels being used, it's strategic. And if you don't recognize it for what it is, you'll exhaust yourself fighting individual battles, arguing with this one, defending yourself to that one while missing the real or happening underneath. The Stoics, as always, offer a clear and powerful lens through which to see this. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When these attacks come, the goal is to create a storm inside your mind, to make you imagine that you are surrounded, outnumbered, doomed. But reality is much simpler. You are facing a spiritual campaign, and like any campaign, it relies on breaking your will. Your greatest weapon, therefore, is your inner citadel, the unshakable peace you cultivate inside yourself, untouchable by the chaos around you. When you recognize that multiple people bringing the same message of fear or discouragement isn't a coincidence, but a spiritual strategy, everything changes. You stop taking it personally. You stop scrambling to put out fires. You start seeing the common thread, the pattern, the fingerprints of a larger force at work. And most importantly, you refuse to give it power by reacting emotionally. Instead, you anchor yourself deeper into your practices, prayer, reflection, solitude, whatever keeps your spirit clean and your mind clear. The solution is not to rage against the people being used against you. It is to withdraw your energy from the circus they're trying to drag you into. Fortify your mind with truth, reinforce your spirit with clarity, limit your exposure to anyone who repeatedly injects confusion or fear into your life. You cannot control the number of voices that rise against you, but you can control which voices you allow to shape your spirit. Understand this. When you are under coordinated attack, it is often because you are on the edge of a breakthrough. The intensity of the resistance is proof of the significance of your path. Do not let the noise convince you to turn back. Hold the line. Stay silent where you are baited to argue. Stay steady where you are tempted to react. Guard your peace with the vigilance of a soldier in enemy territory. Because, in the end, no matter how many people are weaponized against you, the coordinating force behind them is powerless without your permission. It only thrives on your fear, your doubt, and your forgetfulness of who you are. The moment you stop feeding it with your reactions is the moment you reclaim your strength. Your path is sacred. Your growth is sacred. Let no coordinated attack, no matter how loud or how cunning, convince you otherwise. Remain unmoved. Remain free. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. What you've felt, what you've seen, it's real. And now you have the eyes to recognize it. Demons don't come with red faces and horns. They come disguised in familiar voices, trusted hands, and old memories. But once you know the signs, you can protect your peace, your purpose, and your future. If this video opened your eyes, if something inside you is stirring, telling you this is what's been happening, then don't ignore it. Act on it. Strengthen your spirit. Guard your heart. Step into the authority you are meant to walk in. You are not helpless. You are not alone. You are being called to rise. If you're ready to keep your spirit sharp and your circle protected, smash that subscribe button right now. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another weapon of truth in your arsenal. Share this video with someone you love, because real freedom starts with awareness. Stay strong, stay awake. Your soul is worth fighting for.